Good afternoon, Mayor Bowser and guest. The Barnard Concert Choir will sing two selections. This is Washington and What the World Needs Now.
This is Washington. It's the capital of the nation, a monumental fascination. It's a work of marble art. This is Washington, an international congregation. You can tell by our elation, it's a city full of heart. Now the people who live in this city work together day by day to improve the quality of living and be a model for the USA. This is Washington, greatest city in the nation. We're on the go, we're on the grow in education in Washington, D.C. Now the people who live in this city work together day by day to improve the quality of living and be a model for the USA. This is Washington, greatest city in the nation. We lift our hearts, we lift our hands in dedication to Washington, our Washington, in Washington, D.C.
It's a work of marble art. This is Washington, international congregation. You can tell by our elation. It's a city full of heart. Now the people who live in this city work together day by day to improve the quality of living and be a model for the USA. This is Washington, greatest city in the nation. We're on the go, we're on the grow in education in Washington, D.C. Now the people who live in the city work together day by day to improve the quality of living and be a model for the USA. This is Washington, greatest city in the nation. We lift our hearts, we lift our hands in dedication to Washington, our Washington, to Washington, D.C.
And welcome to our students, staff, and distinguished guests. Can we give another round of applause for our amazing chorus? I am Dr. Grace Reed, and I'm the principal of this wonderful school. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, Dr. Bay, and other guests for visiting our Barnard Bears today. Every day here at Barnard is special, but we are elated today to gather for Career Day for the soon-to-be graduates. With just over a week, our elementary school left for our fifth graders, they will be thinking about their futures. I know some of you are deciding where you will continue your education in the new school year and what new friends you will make in middle school. As we kick off Career Day, I want to encourage you to listen and learn about all the paths to success that are available to you, especially in this great city. As you listen to Mayor Bowser, I hope her story inspires you and reminds you of all that you can accomplish with your intellect and hard work. When I was a child, I was inspired to become a teacher. And ever since the age of 4, I knew that's what I wanted to do with my life. I'm from a farming community in Jamaica. You hear my accent. And I used to teach the animals and the coffee trees. And I used to tell my dad, they are the most intelligent animals in the entire community. A lot has changed since that. And now you have more knowledge and possibilities available to you. So I encourage you to make the most of today. Listen, be bold, and ask questions. Now let's give a warm Barnard welcome to Maven Star, and to introduce our special guest.
Good afternoon, Barnard Bears, leaders and guests. We are excited to welcome you all to our Career Day event, a special day where we get to explore different career paths and learn about the possibilities that await us in the future.
We are especially honored to have a few special guests with us today who show incredible leadership and dedication to improving the lives of young people in our city.
Dr. Bay is the Deputy Chancellor of Social Emotional Academic Development. Because of her hard work, students like us can thrive academically and emotionally all across DCPS schools.
Mayor Bowser has made significant investments in youth programs, ensuring that every student in DC has the resources they need to succeed and access solid career options. Her commitment to education and career readiness has made a great impact and inspires kids from all over DC to dream for a big future.
She is a true champion, always working hard to create opportunities for all of us. Please join us in giving a warm welcome to our mayor, Mayor Muriel Bowser. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for being here with us today.
Well, hello, Barnard Bears. Hello. It's great to see you all, and I want to thank Dr. Reed for inviting me to participate, and all of the faculty and staff here at Barnard. Give your teachers and staff a big round of applause. We are so grateful to them, and we are so grateful to Dr. Reed's service to the boys and girls of Washington, D.C. Do you know she's the 4th longest serving principal in the school district? She's so talented that I know when the chancellor and the deputy chancellor think about ways to innovate throughout the city, they always ask, what is Barnard doing? So boys and girls, you're very, very fortunate to be able to go to school in your neighborhood and have great adults who care about you, love you, who want to challenge you to be the best and the brightest. And I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do next. So 5th grade has been great, right? Yes. 6th grade is going to be fantastic, right? All right, 6th grade is a really important year. You're going to be making big decisions. And now I know your teachers have already been talking to you about this transition. This is the most important transitions that you'll make in your educational career. So you're going to jump into 6th grade, you're going to make friends, you're going to take challenging courses, and you're going to be on your way to graduating from high school, going on to what's next for you in college or career, and hopefully coming right back here to Washington, D.C., so that you can enjoy the city that we're building together. So I'll stop there. Am I giving a little talk about myself? Okay, I'm giving a little talk about myself. So who knows what my job is? Yes? Just say one thing you think that I do in my job.
Like, you're good leadership?
Yes, part of my job is leadership for all of the city.
You make our safety rules.
I make our safety rules. That's part of my job. Yes. What about on this side? Yes. You're our mayor. I'm your mayor. That's right. And what's this last one? And then I'll talk a little bit more about being mayor. Shout it out. I'll repeat it, honey. To make sure I take care of safety and support the schools? Yes, that's all part of my job. So I am your mayor, and in Washington, D.C., the mayor is the chief executive for the whole government. Okay? So like Dr. Reed is the chief executive for your school, and Chancellor Farabee is the chief executive for D.C. Public Schools. I'm the chief executive for Washington, D.C.'s government. And so there's one mayor, and then the other branch of government, the legislative branch of government, has 13 council members. And guess what? I used to be the council member for this neighborhood. And this neighborhood is in Ward 4. So I was the Ward 4 council member. And before that, I was an ANC commissioner. Some of you guys know the ANC commissioner in your neighborhood. And so those are all of the types of different jobs that we have in government for elected officials. Do you know what yesterday was, guys? Who knows? Election Day, kind of Independence Day. It was Election Day. And so people went out across the city to vote. In fact, the Ward 4 council member was up for election, and people went out to vote for her and the other candidates that wanted to be the Ward 4 council member. And I am from Washington, D.C., like many of you. I grew up in a neighborhood about 10 minutes from here in Ward 5. My parents still live in the house where I was raised, and I am the last of 5 kids. So I had 4 siblings, and we all were raised to think very highly of public service and working to make neighborhoods in Washington, D.C. better. So when I graduated from high school, I went to college in Pennsylvania, and I came home to go to graduate school at American University. And then I started, just kind of by chance, by getting an internship in local government. And when I got an internship in local government, I really fell in love with local government. I worked in local government for several years, and then I decided to run for Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner, then council member, and now mayor. And I have the distinction of being one of only 2 mayors in our history of Home Rule Washington, D.C. To serve 3 terms. There was one mayor who served 3 consecutive terms like me, and then he served another term. And we have a statue for him down at City Hall at the John Wilson building, and his name was Marion Barry. And so when I was elected in 2015 to be mayor, my agenda was to make sure that we continue to grow as a city, that our schools continue to grow and be world class, that we had a jobs, housing, and opportunity agenda for all 8 wards, including wards that hadn't had as much investment as others. And we kind of nicknamed that agenda the Fair Shot Agenda. And what that means is no matter where you live in Washington, D.C., or whatever your background is, or wherever you were born, or how much money your parents have, that you should be able to work hard and advance in Washington, D.C. because of the opportunities we create. And so we continue to work very hard on that Fair Shot agenda. And a big part of it is making sure that young people have what they need. And in order to do that, we have to make sure that you are safe, that you're safe at school, on the way to school, that you're safe at home. We have to make sure that your schools have everything that they need. And a big part of what we've worked on is making sure that we have nice school buildings, but most importantly, that the adults at your school, the teachers and the staff are the best of the best, and that they're respected and supported and trained and have what they need to work with you. We also want you to have great out-of-school activities after school and during the summer. And you guys are getting to be the age where you'll be able to get a summer job soon. Like, how old are you? 11, 12? 10, 11, 12. So not quite yet, but in a few years, you'll be getting summer jobs. And so that you can learn and practice and experience different jobs that you may want to do. A group of boys and girls greeted me at the door. And they were in police uniforms. So they're public safety jobs. And these are jobs in government. We employ thousands of teachers, like Dr. Reed talked about being a teacher. We employ people who are graphic artists. Some of you like art, and we have to communicate a lot of different messages. So we employ graphic artists to work for us. Some of you are great writers, and you like to tell stories and communicate. So we hire in DC government people who write speeches and write great memos. Others of you like to work with your hands and be outside. And a lot of people who work for us in DC government, they work for an agency called DPW. And they're responsible for grass and trees and trash and making sure that the city is clean. So there are lots of different, some of you are like science, right? You like science? Who likes science? Okay, that's good. And you may have even seen a show called CSI on TV that helps solve crimes, and you see how there are scientists and crime scene investigators, other ways to help keep us safe. Others of you really like to help people directly. And when we call 911 if we need help, there are people that work for DC government that answer the phone. And we always are looking for people to help do that. Some of you speak more than one language, right? And we're always hiring people who speak more languages, especially Spanish, Amharic, and other languages that are commonly spoken in Washington, D.C. So those are, some jobs that we have in the government. I have to tell you, I think I have the best job in Washington, D.C. And here's why. It's a hard job, but I think it's the best because I love public policy and I love politics. And I love to make decisions that help the most people in the fastest way possible. And there's no better job to do that if you love those things, and that's what your passion and skills, where your passion and skills lie, than to be mayor of your own hometown. And I've been privileged to serve 3 terms as mayor, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with you and your families on making Washington, D.C. a fair city for everyone. So with that, I'll answer some questions that you have.
Grade in Mrs. Smith's homeroom, and the following question I would like to ask is, what made you want to become mayor?
Okay. know that when I was your age, I wasn't as fortunate as Dr. Reed. I went all the way through high school. I really went all the way through college and graduate school before I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And it was, and as I mentioned, having different experiences that helped me decide. And I had an internship while I was in graduate school where I was going to school full-time and working full-time, that I really discovered that I liked working in government. And more specifically, I liked working in a smaller government, not the big federal government, but in local government. The other experience that I had was I volunteered on a political campaign. And that experience really introduced me to a lot of people that I would have never met before. And I saw how fast you could make changes when you were in elective office. With only 13 people on our council, you really can have a big impact on the whole city by being on the council. And I think that's when I decided that I would get into elective office. I decided I would be mayor, and this is an important point, I think, for those of you sometimes who question whether you're ready for something, or you question whether you have the confidence to stand up and put yourself out there and take a risk. Sometimes a lot of us do that. We say there's probably somebody else better, or they won't pick me, or if I lose this time, I'll be too devastated, so I won't try. Well, that happens a lot, and it happens a lot to girls. And so we want to always remind ourselves that we're good enough, that it's our turn, that if you work hard and you're prepared, it's okay to take risk. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose. But I decided to take a risk and run for public office because I thought I had good ideas. And I thought I was just as good as the guys. So I decided to run for mayor, and I worked really hard, and that's how I won.
Good afternoon. My name is Annalise Sanders in Ms. Rutherford's fifth grade room. I would like to ask you the following question. What is the most difficult part about being mayor?
That's a good question. There are a lot of tough things that can happen when you are mayor. We are a big city. We are an urban city. We have a lot of politics on the national level that affects what we do on the local level. But I would say the most difficult things that I have experienced being mayor are when we've experienced spikes in crime and young people get hurt or communities feel scared. But this is why I ran for office, to take on tough issues, because I know with working with the great people that work for us, working with communities, we can be the solutions that we seek. And so I feel well suited to deal for those tough problems because I've now gained a lot of experience. And I'm confident in the people that work for us. And I know how to make decisions that will help people quickly.
Good afternoon, Muriel Bowser.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm Ricardo Hawkins, and I'm inside of Miss Snell's homeroom.
Okay.
When I grow up, I am very interested in going to Harvard University. Okay. So I would like to ask you the question, what college did you go to? And to get into that college, did you get a scholarship or did you use government funds?
Well, thank you for that question. And I think that is an outstanding aspiration, and it's great to know what you want to do at this point, because you can order your life into getting the experiences that are necessary to go to Harvard. So I think it's wonderful that you made that decision. Again, I didn't know when I was in 12th grade exactly where I was going to go. And I took a lot of advice from my counselors at my high school, and that was good and bad, because I think maybe I should have applied to go to Harvard. But nobody's told me, you know, Bowser, you're a really good student. You should apply to go to Harvard. But I'm happy about the choice that I made. I went to a very small college in Pittsburgh called Chatham College. I studied history. I made some of the best friends of my life, and we're friends till this day. And I learned a lot about leadership, and I became an exceptional writer and researcher and a student of history. So I feel very proud of that. I mentioned that I went to school after I got my undergraduate degree at American University right here in Washington, D.C., and I've got a master's in public policy. So I think the things that are important to know about that is there are lots of schools. There are lots of really good schools. And some of the two of my godchildren just, they're going to college in the fall. So I've been in this process with them. And what's important is that you go to a school where you think you're going to have a great experience and that you finish, preferably in 4 years. But if it takes 5, okay. That is what is hugely important, is that you go someplace that you're going to be comfortable, you're going to study what you want to study, and that you finish. And I might add that it has some job experiences, that they're really committed to helping you learn what you want to do with your future.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley, and I'm in the 5th grade in Ms. Wolf's homeroom. One question I would like to ask is the following. What do you plan to do after you retire from being mayor?
Well, I don't know how old you think I am, young lady. But that's a great question. People ask me all the time. And, you know, does anybody know how many years you get to be mayor in one term? What is the term of a mayor? Yes. 4 years, exactly right. So if I have been mayor for 3 terms, when I finish my 3rd term, how many years is that? 12 years. That's a long time to be mayor. And you know what's really great about it? I told you already that I've gained the type of experience where decisions, you know, they feel easier to make because of the experience that I have, even the very difficult ones. Number 2, we have seen things start and finish by the end of 12 years. We would have started economic development projects. In 12 years, you guys aren't even 12 years old. I was mayor before some of you were born. And then you're going to be off to middle school. And in that time, and Dr. Reed knows this, we have created middle schools for you to go to in Ward 4 that didn't exist 12 years ago. So we have been able to start and finish really big things in that time. So I will have another job when I'm not mayor, because I won't be old enough or rich enough to retire. But I will have another job. And I hope that that job will allow me to continue to impact cities and continue to impact Washington, D.C., and to just have great experiences around the country and to have enough time to spend with my daughter. So that's the type of experience I'll have moving forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Kylie Addison. I am in Mrs. Wolf's homeroom. I know my favorite teacher is Miss Snell. So I would like to know, who was your favorite teacher and how did he or she make you feel like you mattered?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I have 2 favorite teachers. One was my 2nd grade teacher. Her name was Sister Betty Ann McGreevy. And she just, everyone loved her. And she taught us how to be students, how to be successful moving forward. But one of the big things that she taught us and I know that they've taught you this at Barnard, is times tables. Right? Got to know your times tables. It's the foundation for a lot of the math that you will do and a lot of just like everyday computations that you have to make. And that was one of Sister Betty's claims to fame, that when you left second grade, you know your times tables. The other thing that she did is that we had taco parties. Until this day, I love tacos because of Sister Betty. And it was a great way for us also to learn math, because when you're making tacos and you have to use ingredients, that was her way of teaching us math in an everyday environment. The other favorite teacher I had was Patty, her name was Patty Parachini, and she was my 9th grade teacher. And her job was to teach us how to write, to really look at a paragraph to make sure that it had the sentence structure, it had the 3 supporting arguments and examples, it had the opening and closing. And for years, I did not deviate from Patty Parachini's formula to writing, making a cogent argument. And so I believe no matter what you study or where you go to college, that those people who can read, comprehend, argue, and write and present their ideas are the most successful people. When I hire people, I almost don't care if they went to elite universities. I care if they went to schools that teach writing and arguing and presenting ideas.
Good afternoon. My name is Maeve Anderson, and I am in Ms. Rutherford's homeroom. I know that daily routines are important, so I would like to ask you, what does your daily schedule look like?
Oh, that's a great, what is my daily schedule? Well, it depends. I will tell you that I am a fairly early riser. I like to get up before my daughter so I can have some quiet time and some reading time. And I spend mornings with her at breakfast, and we spend 30 minutes with iReady. Do you all do iReady here? Okay. We do iReady for 30 minutes every morning. And that has been an experience for me because I've seen her growth in reading, and I'm going to see her growth in math because of that schedule. I now spend about 15 minutes walking her dog in the morning, and that's fun. And then I go to the office, or I go to an event like this in the morning. I have meetings in my office, and frequently I have a dinner meeting and an evening meeting, and then I get home to try to have dinner and do nighttime activities. What's important, and that I haven't always done, but it is important, is that I drink enough water, that I get some exercise, and that I get enough sleep. And those are good lessons for you too. And it's good to have a schedule. Early on when I was running for office, Mayor Fenty, who was my mentor, shared with me, we were at some event, and he said, like, what are you still doing here? And I'm thinking, well, the event's still going on, it's fun. And he said, no, you should really try to be in bed by 10. And that was 15 years ago or more now. And I still try to be in bed by 10. I don't care what's going on, I try to be in bed by 10. And that helps me be able to get up at 6 in the morning, do the things I need to do in the morning, because I just told you I get home late a lot. So if I want to clean up the house or organize the closets, or a lot of that has to be done in the morning. And I have to read. I have to read a lot to know what's happening in DC and know what's happening in the world. And I do that. And every morning I make a cup of coffee, and then I do that.
Good afternoon, Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Good afternoon.
I am Yoel Yeshuas, and I am in Miss Wolf's homeroom. I would like to ask you the following question. What motivates you to keep going in your job and do your best?
That's a great question. What motivates me every day is I feel a great responsibility. People have trusted me with their votes, and they have trusted me to use my experience and my judgment to make decisions for them. And that's a big responsibility, and I take it very seriously. So your folks, your families, they pay a part of what they earn every day to the government. And my job is to make sure that we accumulate that money and use it to the benefit, the best benefit for Washington, D.C., and that's important. A number of you have raised that I'm responsible for public safety rules. So I have to take the best information that I have and work with the experts like the chief of police who works with us and make the best decisions that we know how to keep people safe. And so I'm motivated by the trust that people put in me because they hired me to do that work, and I'm motivated by it. I'm also motivated by making sure our city, just like your song, that was a great song. Who wrote that song? The best city in the nation? Grace Barnard? Okay, I love that song. And I'm motivated to be the best. We are a capital city. We're a world-class city, and so we should want, when people think about the best cities in the world, we want them to think about Washington, D.C., and they should. We have a beautiful city, talented people in our city, and we are unique in so many ways. So I'm motivated by that. I'm also motivated to be a good example for my daughter, for my family, and a good representation of what it means to be born and raised in Washington, D.C., and be able to lead on a world stage.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Star Branch, and I am in the 5th grade in Miss Rutherford's homeroom.
Okay.
I know that being the mayor has to be a difficult job for you, but I would like to ask, what is the most difficult decision you have ever had to make as mayor?
There's so many difficult decisions. It's hard for me to name one. But I'll pick one. And one of the kind of difficult decisions that I make sometimes is when I have to fight for us. When there are people who aren't fair. And going up against powerful people sometimes is scary. Remember how I told you that sometimes, we're scared and we're not sure. And so I think it's difficult knowing that I know what the right thing to do is, but I also know I know the consequences of having to fight. But you always, when you're right, you have to, and you're in my position where you speak for 700,000 people, you always have to do the right thing.
All right. Mayor Bowser, I believe you have some questions you want to ask the students now.
Oh, I do. I do have some questions, but I think, let me see if I like these questions. Okay. So why don't you guys, a couple of you, tell me where you're going to school next and what you're excited about your next sixth grade experience. So who wants to help me pick a young person? Maybe someone who hasn't spoken yet. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jaslyn De La Cruz, and I'm going to Paul. And what I'm really excited about is that
I want to learn new things and see what I end up doing in the future.
Awesome. Somebody on this side? Yes.
My name is Ryan Bonilla, and I am in 12th class homeroom. And I'm going to Medflower Middle School. And for mines, I want to learn new things and some couple stuffs and like trying to learn more experience in my life. And for like any types of experiments like learning math, it's really hard for us to learn more stuff. But when you think about learning more stuff, it will give you something that you'll need for appreciating for your experiments in your whole life.
Okay, very good. So tell me about what you know about DC sports teams and your sports interests. Okay. One up here and then here.
One sports team that I know that is from Washington, D.C. is the Wizards. And what I like about the Wizards is that they're really good at basketball, and I think they can make the finals next year.
Oh, okay. That is optimistic. Who wants to tell me about the sports they're interested in? Yes.
So what I'm like interesting is like DC United.
You like DC United, yes?
Yeah, because I love really much soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a soccer fan, and like I want to be in their team. Like I want it to be my career.
Okay, you want to play soccer, all right.
Yeah.
So we love DC United. We also have a women's soccer team, and we helped as a city build the stadium that they play in. So that's really important. Let's right here in the front.
One of the teams that I like is Washington Spirit because they are one of the women's professional soccer team.
That's fantastic. Way to go, Spirit. What's our other women's professional team? What sport? Anybody over here? Okay, right here, sir. The Washington Mystics, absolutely. And we're kind of experiencing a surge of interest in women's professional basketball. In fact, we have a sold-out game this Friday, so I hope everybody is paying attention. All right, let me see what other questions I have. Let me ask this question. It's about your interest in swimming and bicycle riding. So by a show of hands, who knows how to swim? All right. By a show of hands, who wants to learn how to swim? Okay, that's good stuff. So we're going to keep working, right, Dr. Bay and DC Public Schools, to make sure all of our children are exposed to swimming. Who knows how to ride a bike? By a show of hands, who wants to learn how to ride a bike? Okay, I see that. Good. And you know, this is for young people and adults, right? These are lifelong activities. All right, good stuff. So we see Dr. Reed, we're going to make sure that all the children have an experience that they can be exposed to swimming and bicycle riding. Here's my last question. How should I phrase this question? Who wants to tell me why we talk about DC statehood so much? I have an answer right here, gentleman right here. Step up, sweetheart.
Because it's the best state.
Well, I agree. Who wants to add? Who wants to add to that? Yes.
Because it can surely become a state soon enough.
Yes, it surely become a state soon enough. Yes. Who else? Yes. It's able to function as its own state. Well, these are great responses.
Is the capital of the United States?
It's the capital of the United States. One up here, right here.
We live in it.
I can't say again.
We live in it.
Because we live in it, for sure. Okay, I'm going to take two more. One here.
Because of the population, the population of the state is growing every day.
It keeps growing. That's correct. Right here in the front, in the red.
Because it might be the greatest state in all the United States.
It might be. I like the way you guys think. So this is why we talk about DC statehood so much. So there are 50 states in the United States of America currently, right? And DC is not one of them. We are unique in the United States of America because we are a federal district that is the capital of the United States. And sometimes it's good to be unique, and sometimes it's not. Like in the case of not being a state means we don't have 2 senators in the United States Congress, and our Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton, can't vote. Imagine that. So all of us who live here, 700,000 people, just like all of the people who live in 50 states, we pay taxes, but we don't have a vote in Congress. And more than that, we are not fully autonomous, which means the Congress and the president can sometimes interfere in how we run Washington, D.C. So that's why it's so important that we are admitted to the union. And the way that can happen is by a law to be approved in the Congress, by the House of Representatives and the Senate, and signed by the President of the United States. And so while we have come a long way in that it is passed in the House of Representatives and the President of the United States supports it, we still have to have a vote in the Senate and then have the President sign it. So that's why, another reason why it's so important that when you're 18, you are eligible to do what? To vote. And all your friends and family who are 18 can do what? They can vote. And every vote counts. I just want to share a little story with you. There was an election yesterday in Ward 7, which is a part of the city. And right now, the difference between the winners, or who we think is going to be the winner, and the next person, is only like 200 and some votes. That is only a little bit. So your vote makes a big difference. And it's important that when I go out to the other states and I talk about DC statehood, I can say that DC residents care about it, they vote for it, and they vote. And so that's a big part of your education, of being good citizens and exercising your right to vote. And I'm delighted to have been able to meet you today and to be at your school. And I'm looking forward to seeing you at middle school. And I'm looking forward to great reports about you taking challenging classes, making good decisions about your friends, right? Good decisions. Listening to your teachers and your folks at home. And then I'll see you at graduation soon. The time goes just like this, doesn't it, Dr. Reed? It's a blink. So enjoy it and have fun. Thank you, guys. Stay safe.